Yo, yo, yo. What's happening, everybody? Hi-yo. Welcome to the Big Snafu podcast. I'm your host, Jay Big. We have a great topic today. Oh, if your uncle had a podcast, it would be this podcast. I have one of my more favorite topics that I consume, think about, see everywhere. It's obviously controversial. Everything we go over here is pretty controversial for whatever reason. So today, we're going to talk about delusion, entitlement, empathy, and with the general framework of, I think a good way to frame this is just around emotional intelligence. There's a lot of people who talk about emotional intelligence. They're not always using it right. Some people are. But most places I see it, it's being used improperly. I don't know where people get their definitions from, but they're wrong. So I guess that's a good place to start, actually. What does it mean? Right? What is this intangible, untouchable thing that everyone always talks about? Emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence, right? So I'm going to read you. Here's what I did. I went to ChatGPT. Actually, you know what? I need to get more used to this. Here, we're going to show you. Let's go with a little screen capture window, right? We're getting good at this. And I don't like to ask ChatGPT everything. I think that's lazy and stupid. But when you need, especially when you need some general consensus, I think that, one second, it doesn't want to do that. Ready? Let's go application capture. Sorry, guys. See, I really need to learn this stuff, though. It's really important. So for some reason, I don't see my browser in there. That's okay. I'm just going to read it to you. I'm not going to turn that off. Telling you guys, it's still amateur hour. So sorry. So sorry for you. So I go, hey, ChatGPT. I go, hey, I want you to do a little research, right? Like I was saying, everyone seems to have a different definition, and I don't really care what the right definition is. I just want to know the right definition. So I said, what is it in the dictionary? And then, what does it also say as given by medical and psychiatry? I want you to look as many as you can find and then condense your knowledge into a strict, short definition of emotional intelligence, okay? Strict and short. So it says emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage one's own emotions, and to recognize, understand, and respond appropriately to the emotions of others. So this is great. And the reason this is great is because it gives some responsibility. The responsibility you have is to respond appropriately. Emotional intelligence shows that you can respond appropriately. And appropriately is something that is dished out by culture, right? Like bullying, by disagreeing with people, by if you see somebody with a swastika tattooed on their forehead, you're going to have a reaction to that, which then stops people from getting a swastika on their forehead if they really want to get anywhere in life, right? It's like this simple stuff. That's a really extreme definition, but, right, it puts some responsibility on you to not get the tattoo in the first place. And or if you're going to choose that tattoo, to understand, talking about empathy, to understand what that's going to do to you, right? So, sorry, I just had a good thought. I'm going to write it down. And I think it's a thought I've put down before, but this is specific. All right, so now we have our definition. We got our definition. And again, emotional intelligence, so it's recognize, understand, manage. Recognize, understand, manage, and then recognize, understand, and respond appropriately. So first, it puts the onus on you. You've got to recognize what's going on with you. You have to understand why that's happening to you. And then you have to manage them appropriately, respond appropriately. You can get mad. You're allowed to get mad. Everyone's allowed to get mad, right? Everyone's allowed to get mad. You have to be able to come back to baseline pretty quickly. If you're mad because, you totaled your car that day, I think that you get the day, you get one sleep until you feel better, and then you can, get back to normal, okay? And then if somebody breaks your fingernail, you get about 10 minutes. If your spouse upsets you, you get 5 to 30 minutes before you should be able to act somewhat naturally in front of that person. It doesn't have to be perfect, but, it's appropriateness. It's finding the appropriateness. And I think that's, one of the major problems today with accountability. Nobody wants to take the accountability. Nobody wants to really learn. So now we've got our definition. So that's the only thing I really wanted to bring up a screen for anyway. Sorry, I sucked at that. We'll get better at that. But what happens today instead is people are championed for their bad decisions, and they're cheered on. It reminds me, as a boy, a lot of young teenage boys, right? Where the most daring of the group is going to jump off the cliff. We're all shitting our pants. We're like, yeah, buddy, go for it. Terrible decision. I want to see it happen. Good, bad, or indifferent, right? Except this seems to happen a lot into adulthood now. Your delusions are not just for you. They are for everyone else to see, hear, and agree with. Right? Well, just the pronoun game in general. Now I got to be different. My delusion is that I'm they, them. And you just got to know. And if you know and you mistake and you call me he, she, he, him, whatever. I'm going to get mad. I'm a victim. I get no accountability for the fact that I changed from exactly what culture's baseline is, and people might make mistakes. And if I'm really serious about they, them, then I really shouldn't get bent out of shape. I should be a lot more understanding because it is different. The empathy angle would be that I would understand that other people would be able to look at me and be like, that's a little bit strange. I haven't seen that before. Reminds me of the gay guys, right? In the late 80s, early 90s. They were nice to everybody. They almost empathized with everybody's newfound position. And we all had to change our minds on what we thought was decent or what we thought was appropriate or what we thought was whatever. And having nice guys who were cool and good to people really helped their cause a lot. Imagine if they had been really combative and jerks and said, you should totally understand. How do you not understand, right? Zero empathy. It's not a great approach. People don't like that. People don't like that. The empathy will endear people to you. Even if you're like dead honest, but as long as you can empathize with where they're coming from. You know, look, I understand where you're coming from because I saw ABC, but, you know, I think XYZ. They'll still respect your XYZ more just because you acknowledge their position. You empathize with their position in life, right? So, speaking to the young men, your emotional intelligence, you need 3 key things. You're going to focus on 3 key things. You're going to focus on the room, you're going to focus on the person, and you're going to focus on yourself. You need to be able to read the room. You need to be able to read the person. And you really need to be able to read and control yourself. These are your 3 jobs as it relates to emotional intelligence. Forget the ladies. We'll talk about the ladies and the absence and like what's going on over there in a second. I want to address you guys first. You're more important. The other stuff, it can be black pilling. I'm not trying to black pill anyone, okay? I want to give you the red pill. And the red pill is that grown men truly get angry infrequently. When they do, there's a usual logical justification for it. And a really responsible man doesn't stay mad for very long. Not in his feelings, right? Sometimes it's responsible. It's a good thing to, hold on to your. Here we go. We got some guy at my door. Hey. Come over here. It's okay. Come here. Come here. He's gone. He's gone, all right? He's gone. We're okay. We're okay. Thanks for letting me know. I really do appreciate it. You want to come say hi? No? All right. See you later. Thanks. Thank you for your help. I appreciate it. Solicitor. All right. Hey. Psst. Psst. It's enough. Go lay down. Go. See you later. Thank you. Appreciate you. You're the best. So that's fun. So, this is for the boys. Again, the 3 things you need to be able to, it's the room, it's the person, it's yourself. It's the room, it's the person, it's yourself. You have to be able to read the room. You got to be able to read the person. You got to be able to control yourself. Reading the room. When you walk into a room, the room has a temperature. You walk into a nightclub, temperature is great. Everyone's having fun. It's fucking awesome. But then you walk into a smaller room. You walk into a smaller space. You walk into a group of people. Somebody's angry, somebody's upset, somebody's a problem, something's going on. Be really nice of you to like figure it out so you don't like burst in and try to be all ostentatious and, hey guys, and how's it going? And everyone's like, what the hell is this guy doing? Weird example, but definitely works. Reading the person. Oh man, this is where you got to know if your jokes land. This is where you've got to know if the person's even interested in you at all. Women in particular are very evasive when, like, not evasive. Yes, they're evasive in this case because they want to get away from you. You're being a weirdo. You brought up a weird topic. It might not even have anything to do with you. She's just got to go. And women can be really bad about just telling you like a dude would, like, yo, I got to go. See you later. They want to be nice about it. They're trying to be nice. They're trying to be kind. So they're like, okay. And they're giving you these eyes and they're crossing their arms and their feet are pointing in a whole different direction from you. And you're not picking up on anything. And you just keep lottie-dying your way through life and you think that they're listening to you and they're totally not. And then you get mad later. She was a jerk. She wouldn't even give me her number, whatever it was. Meanwhile, you should have walked away in second 3 because you could clearly see that she had somewhere to go. And that's a really good example of something that could happen. So now you got to control yourself, right? This is where it's like somebody's annoying you. Somebody's pissing you off. Somebody's, no, better yet. Hold on. Let's go to the positive side. You really like this girl a lot. You want to say a bunch of things to her. You need to control that. Escalate appropriately. There's quite a few guys that talk about this. Rollo, Michael Sartain, right? Proper escalation. You can't just go from 0 to 10. You got to go 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4. You can't overload. It's controlling yourself. Understanding where you're at. Understanding who you are. Self. It's probably the most important. In fact, if I was to draw a pyramid, right, we would go from the room to the person to yourself. And I think that controlling yourself is the ultimate goal. It's the hardest one, I think. I'm not perfect. I'm not. I'm way better than I used to be. Boy, am I way better than I used to be, but I am not perfect. So there's this a little magic in here about respond appropriately, right? And appropriately has a lot to do with your expectations for yourself, boundaries for yourself, and the enforcement of boundaries. Because really that's where you're going to respond inappropriately a lot of the times is going to be by not utilizing your boundaries, right? If somebody's really offensive, if you go out to dinner with some lady and she's like dogging you the whole time, you have to have the boundaries and the respect for yourself to enforce the boundaries that you made, that you're not going to let anyone talk to you like this. And you get up and go because you have an expectation for yourself of what you will and won't accept. Then you have a boundary for other people that lets them know that, maybe if she's being a jerk, you could tell her once, like, hey, I don't know who you think you're out with, but like, I'm just trying to get to know you. So I don't know why you're attacking me. And then maybe she goes like, oh shit, I'm sorry. Like, my bad. And then everything goes fine. Or on the flip, what normally happens is, I'm not attacking you. I don't know what your problem is, but da-da-da-da-da. And then you go like, oh, I'm going to enforce my boundary right now. I told you what it was. You don't seem to like that. So I'm just going to get up and go. And then I'll have a lot more respect for myself later, right? Responding appropriately, though. You're not getting angry. You're not getting mad. You're not jumping down her throat. You're literally like, I can do so much better. Normal people treat me nicely. You're not normal for some reason, so I'm just going to go. We just met, so I'm just going to go, and you have a great night, and I'm going to have a great night, and I'll see you later. And not only do I promise you that it'll make you feel better later, but if you really wanted to get back at them, that's exactly how you get back at them for their bullshit. Like, just being like so nonchalant about that, like, oh my God, it's glorious. Honestly, it's glorious. Shows a lot of maturity. Shows a lot of reverse entitlement, right? You don't feel entitled to her at all. What you're entitled to is to have your boundaries respected. That's it. You're not entitled to the date. You're not entitled to her. You're not entitled to touching her because you paid for food. You're not entitled to a kiss afterwards. You're not entitled to shit. What you're entitled to is holding onto your boundaries and doing a good job of it. And you will respect yourself later. I'm telling you, this is such a good message. So that's like the red pill part of this, right? That's the red pill part of this. Now let's get to the mildly black pill part of this. So there's, in life, for men and women, there are features and there are bugs. People talk about narcissism all the time. Narcissism, definitely a bug. There's no feature that's narcissism anywhere. But some of the features aren't so kind, right? Men have a few unkind features that I can think of, for sure, off the top of my head. before I get into this stuff for you guys about women. So, I mean, our unkind features, like we are definitely more disagreeable. We are definitely more like, I'm going to do what I want to do, for sure. It's not always the best quality to have, man. It's really not. It's not always what you're looking for. I think we're more physical, right? We're like, we can't sit still a lot. Like, I think that's kind of a bad quality in some sense, right? You have to be able to control that. And I say we, like, especially as young lads, I think, have a very difficult time sitting still. It's a strange quality, right? Like, you got to constantly be bouncing around or something, getting energy out. Like, it's a lot. It's not the best. It's not the best quality. And, you know, our general greater strength means that it's like, it's really easy for us to hurt people, like especially women, right? This is why we don't hit women, because it's like our advantage is so great. Our muscle density, our bone density, like the thrust and torque we have behind the, dude, you just don't want to do it. You just don't want to do it. It's one of those things, right? We're stronger. So it's like, and we're more physical, so we do want to hit people when they piss us off, especially when we're younger. Holy hell. Not great features. Not great. Good for wartime. Great for wartime. But in general, in today's society, like, not great features, right? Like, so now when we relate to women, we want them, we do the feminism thing where we say that things should be different. Oh, I feel like things should be. However, life doesn't work off of shoulds. Life doesn't care about your feelings. And generally speaking, regardless of how this makes you feel, today's women 100% are delusional, entitled, and totally lack empathy for the male experience. To try and say that there's some women who have accountability and aren't delusional and aren't entitled and have some empathy is true. But we're not going to talk about them because we need to know how to identify those who do not. And we need to get to the core of why this is generally untrue, despite the fact that there are a few people. We're only going to say it once. There's a few people who this doesn't apply to. I'll speak about myself for just one moment. I have an amazing sister. No, you cannot have her. She is married for many years. She has 2 children. She is gloriously empathetic toward the male experience. She has a metric shit ton of accountability. She is definitely not delusional and no entitlement. She listens. She is one of my favorite people in the world. Never mind, easily one of my favorite women in the world, and an easy person to put up other people against. She's a great measuring stick. I'll tell you that much. What a wonderful woman. Honestly, couldn't say enough more for my sister. She's amazing. The reason that this lack of empathy exists, and Myron Gaines talks about this ad nauseum, is because they don't need to know anything about men to get men. Women can simply exist. They can be pretty, they can smell good, they can be the meanest and dumbest person all at once, and they will still get dates, they will still have sex, they will still get into relationships, they may even still get a wedding ring. Men, on the flip, must know something about women to get women. The reason for this, the reason that I can say this is because we do the approach. We are the ones, men are the ones, first of all, we are way less picky in general. And we are the ones that perform the approach. So if I'm going to approach you and come talk to you, I better know something about you. If I think I'm going to impress you at all, I better know something about what you like. I better know something. You like tall, you like handsome, you like muscular, you like mystery, you like whatever it is. I'm just going to bring it. I'm going to bring whatever I got, and I'm going to try and get you. And if I got nothing for you, I'm going to know instantly that I'm a piece of shit. The world judges you instantly as a man. You get rejected immediately, for better or for worse. I don't think it's for worse at all. I think it's a good thing. But this behavior, and by the way, that's just how the dating market works, right? Like, women set the game. Men then play the game. They step up. They take their shot. And they are accepted or denied. And that's generally how the dating market works. But for us to have a shot to swing at the ball, we better have an idea of how the ball moves, how the ball is coming across. Better yet, what the pitcher might do, how the pitcher's feeling that day, what color the pitcher's wearing, whether or not the pitcher exposed their neck to you or not, right? We can advantage ourselves through these things, and we do that because we game it. You make the game and we play it. So, it sounds bad. To say that you lack empathy, it sounds terrible, right? And it doesn't, it's not, it's not meant to make women feel terrible. It just is what it is. Empathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes, literally. Now, I do believe where you can empathize is you empathize. I swear this is true. The older I get, the more I see. All right, let's rewind 1 second. We're going to go what men see, what women see. So right off rip, when a woman sees another woman, right off rip, she's seeing her across the store, does not know her. She looks at her hair, the lip color, the kind of makeup she has on. She's looking for fillers. She's looking for what cute outfit she's wearing. She's looking for her nails, the nail color, nail style, eyebrow style, eyelash style. Literally, this is what they're looking at. They're probably looking at their figure, noticing how that looks. Boom. Women look at a man. When they look at a man, they're looking at his eyes, they're looking at his arms, they're looking at his bulge, they're looking at his butt, they're looking at his legs. Probably looking at his watch, probably looking for some kind of tag for designer or something. They're looking for indications of being able to protect, which is the strength, the handsomeness, and then to provision. So maybe she's looking at your cart. Maybe she's looking at what you're buying, right? Now on the flip, when we see a woman, I wish this wasn't true. It's so true. When we see a woman, we look at her eyes, we look at her cleavage, we look at her. Well, now the camel prints everywhere. So now you're looking at her crotch, then you're looking at her butt, especially when it's available. If it's not available, you're not really you might even gaze there and you're not seeing anything, right? Big sweatshirt, it's wintertime, big sweatshirt, ski pants, you're looking for it. Oh, it's not there. You don't even notice it. It's long gone. But those are literally the first things that you see compared to the first things that your girl sees. This is why they go out naked and they think what are you talking about? I dress like this for me. And what they mean is I want to look good for other girls and other men. They also don't realize that men are absolutely checking out. All these girls with their no bra and pierced nipples thing, it's bananas. Every guy that walks by, I swear, every single one noticed. They know that you have pierced nipples. They're positive. They already saw it. They saw it instantly. As quickly as you saw that girl's nail color, he saw that girl's nipple rings. It's that simple. And this is where I'm saying that you lack the empathy, because you cannot see. Women cannot see that that's what we see first. And then further to that, they cannot see that we then judge them for that. Most men will instantly judge them as, I can't take you seriously because you basically walk around naked. And where if I can have sex with you, I will. If you'll let me, great. If not, then that's fine too. I'm not going to start chasing you and giving you the whole world that I would like to give to somebody that I want to be serious with. That's literally what happens, but women don't have that ability to empathize. Again, I can think of my sister. She knows that. When she goes to CrossFit. When she goes to CrossFit, she has a t-shirt on and shorts. Like real, hey ladies, they're called shorts. They like hang off your body. They don't cling to every crack and crevice that you have. Like, it's not that hard. You still get to go do all the things that you want to do. Because men are going to sexualize you anyway. And men love women. So if you're pretty in the face, you're going to get hit on anyway. You'll get hit on a lot less. And you'll get a lot higher quality men approaching you if you're like conservative. And I don't know why that women lack the empathy to see this. And they get mad at those statements. But I guess it just is what it is. I don't know what to do about it. I live in the truth now, and that's all the truth. I don't know what else to say about that. I made a poker analogy before, and I'm going to do it again. In poker, when we talk about, ready? It goes like this. Here, wait. Better. Okay? Here's what we're going to do. It's like, it goes higher than this, but we're going to keep with the pyramid. Okay? The very base layer when you're a poker player, level 0. You're a level 0 player. You're at the bottom of the fucking totem pole. You're a level 0 player. You barely know what 2 cards you have. You know what 2 cards you have. You barely even understand what they mean. You could get lucky and make a hand and win something. Great. Then you're playing against a level 1 player who not only knows the hands that they have, the cards that they have, but then they're thinking about what cards you might have based on your behavior, based on your betting action, based on whatever it is. They're just concerned. They're guessing. Okay. Then you get up to level 2. Now the level 1 player is playing against a level 2 player. Now we're at a huge advantage because now I know what my 2 cards are. I'm thinking about what your 2 cards are. But I'm also thinking about what you're thinking about that my 2 cards are. That's empathy. Being able to look at how people see you and understand it. You don't even have to agree with it. It doesn't matter. In fact, at the poker table, I might throw you off because I think that you're that kind of player. Now I'm going to throw you off because I think that you're trying to think about what I have. So now I'm going to start being deceptive. I use that to my advantage. Empathy is definitely to your advantage. Again, as a woman, if you want a really great guy, it's so simple now. The market is just flooded with women who don't care about their sexuality, their body, etc. They're just hanging out everywhere, all over the place. And if you just come in and be in the right places and like be conservative and show some interest. That's the other thing. These girls don't show any interest. I think it's because they're finding guys that they don't really want. Like I think when a woman really finds a man that she wants, she does show the interest. I think that happens. But these girls don't show interest because they're finding guys that they don't want. Because they're attracting the wrong type of men. They're attracting the men that they don't want because they don't understand what they're putting out in the world. I don't think that's that hard to figure out. But apparently, it's like the third rail. Yeah, I made notes. Hey, I'm trying to be prepared. I made notes. I'm about to start doing like home math and start laminating shit and like put the camera down and start highlighting. I don't know. I'll start drawing on the chalkboard back there. And by the way, hey, the chalkboard. Let's talk about. I did an okay job. I don't think that's terrible. If you've been wondering what that is the whole show, that is Latin. That is from The Matrix. When he's in the kitchen with the Oracle, and he's saying, am I the one? Am I the one? She says, oh, I don't know. She points up at that sign, and it's know thyself. It is a Latin phrase that means know thyself, which is what we're talking about. Now, that's going to stay up there, I think. I hope. It looks pretty good. I think it's good enough to keep up. Like the first E I did down here is a little smaller than like the last E I did over here, but it shows it shows it's hand drawn. I don't know. But this is all about knowing thyself, right? This is what empathy is. Empathy is knowing thyself, knowing other people. And we were talking about, well, let's stick with where we were going off. So the other thing that women don't empathize with you guys, I'm sorry to say, again, I'm not trying to black pill you, but this is a red pill moment. Women have a different decision to make than we do. And they're rewarded differently, I should say. I mean, for sure. So let's we're going to say that all men go to work. And if you're successful, it's great. You're doing great. And if you're not successful at work, boy, do you know about it. You know about it in your paycheck. You know about it in your quality of life. Those are your only real two outlets. No one's really coming to save you. No one's going to magically mentor you. You just have to figure stuff out. Women have a different choice. They can choose that. Feminism, right? They can choose that. They can choose whatever they want. But one of the choices that they get to make is a choice that we don't get to make. And they get to make this choice where they could find a really great dude that they can hook their trailer to and start a family with him and be a matriarch. We can't be the matriarch. That's not a thing for us. You ever see that grandma that everybody loved, and everyone goes to her funeral, and everybody's there. Everybody's there because this woman affected so many lives in the most positive way. Always trying to feed you, always trying to shove food in your face, right? It's the best. We can't do that. We're not like that. That's not a choice that we get to make. And anyway, even if I could, I don't think I would like it. If I was to hitch my trailer to some woman who worked real hard and brought home all the money, and then I just kind of sat at home and did the homemaking, and that doesn't sound exciting. That doesn't sound fulfilling or exciting to me. And when polled, most women want to do this because it's fulfilling. When polled, women who have done this will tell you it's extremely fulfilling. They'll also tell you it's a little sad, right? Your kids move out of the house. It's kind of sad. There's always sad moments, right? But generally, there's plenty of sad moments for a guy at work too, believe me. It's part of life. Without sadness, there is no happiness, right? The yin and yang. Yin and yang. So if you're unsuccessful at work as a man, women have a word for you. Well, they got a couple of words. Bum is their favorite. Broke is quite popular. And the youngins will call you Dusty. Somehow, there's no word for a woman that's broke. There's no equivalent word. Doesn't exist. And I heard a great quote, and the reason why, I wish I could remember who said this. If you know, just put it in the comments or something. Women don't self-identify as broke. It's really what it is. It's not a part of their makeup. And this is where they have this magical empathy, meaning they know that we don't care. So like it's not something that they're concerned with because they know that the richest bachelor in your town would gladly date the cashier at the local cash and carry. He would if he found some commonalities. If he found some, he might even marry her if that relationship went well enough. He doesn't care how much money she makes. It's not his concern. It's not his concern. Fertility, beauty, brains, these are way more of a concern. And I met people who work in corporate America who are not smart, and I've met cashiers who are smart. So like your brains, your job doesn't dictate your brains, I don't think, in most parts of life. But when women are unsuccessful at work, they're not really judged harshly for it, right? If a woman loses her job, she's not like, oh my God, you lost your job. Like, oh. Meanwhile, as a guy who did lose his job in a relationship, boy, very difficult. First of all, you feel terrible. As a man, it is miserable. Miserable. What a miserable feeling. Chasing work and feeling desperate. And then on top of it, you have a partner to provide for. So now your partner is disappointed, upset, mad, all these things that make sense. By the way, we were talking about reasonable, right? Respond appropriately. That's kind of an appropriate response, guys. It's not going to be fun. Even if you're single, but especially with a partner. So they got plenty of words for us. We got no words for them because it doesn't really matter. We're fine with whatever they want to do, as long as we can pay the bills. In fact, I would say that a man would be really willing to live in the middle of nowhere so that he could support his wife on a $50,000 a year, whatever job he's got, moving out far enough away, getting a economical car so you don't spend a lot in gas, and then she gets to be work optional or do whatever there's a lot of people have hobbies that make them money. It's great. I love woodworking and stuff, like things that you can do at home. You can make things and sell things. And if it's work optional, you have all this time to spend on that. It's a great way to live your life. It's wonderful. So I think a lot of men would prefer to do that. But meanwhile, I think a lot of the women are on the flip side where they're like, I want a bigger house. I want to be closer to Jane. I want to be out every night at dinner. I want to be, right? They don't want to give up these niceties in order to have this other kind of life that is a little bit boring, admittedly. But the man is ready to do that. He's ready to do that. He doesn't want to not support. He doesn't want to move out there and have you have the only job and he's work optional. That's not really a desire of his. It's not fulfilling as a man. You would like to provide. You would like to, when I finally got the opportunity to provide every bit of income for the entire household, literally nothing made me prouder. At no point did I say, boy, I hope this stops so that I, can depend on my wife for the income from now. Like I never, at no point, I was so proud. It's like this thing that's deep in your biology. It's in your mitochondria to provide when you're a man. It just is. It just is. And a woman will say, I'll provide for a man. And then you say, for how long? And they always have a time frame. I don't know, a couple of years. Yeah, right. Won't even be a couple of years. Promise you that. It's really tumultuous. It's not a lot of fun. I do not recommend. But if you go through it, it'll make you a better person. Don't be down if you're in the thick of it. So, guys, I would recommend, after all this, I would recommend staying away from women, staying away from dating a woman seriously until you have your emotional intelligence where it should be, and especially your money. Meaning, and when I say where it should be, it's wherever you wanted it to be. I want you to be confident. I want you to, be able to go out and spend $100 on a date and not really worry about it. Worry about having a good time. Worry about hanging out with her. Don't let her pay for anything. And, don't break the bank. That way you're confident. If it's a $50,000 a year thing and you're living, so I'm in Tampa here, out Plant City. I know it's probably even further than Plant. I bet you Plant City's not even that cheap anymore. But there's something like north of Plant City that you could go to and pay $0 for rent and go live wherever. Even if that's your thing and you're doing it, you're living comfortably and you're like buying a little bit of Bitcoin and you don't have any debt and you're taking girls out, that's a fine place to be, especially if you got your emotional intelligence in check. I think you're doing fine. So I don't think you need to have $1 bajillion to be able to do all this. It's more just like a mindset. It's more like just having a manageable income level and, finding someone who likes you for you. That's the next step. That's the next step. Past this whole, once you are able to read the room, read the person, control yourself, now it's about finding somebody who really likes you. Now it's about learning the things you need to learn so that you don't have to guess. And we'll do an episode soon on this, for sure. Man, I got a tickle in my throat. Pause. It's driving me crazy. But we're at an hour now, hour-ish. So I'm going to wind down, but I will definitely be doing a show on body language. As a poker player, I read a book many years ago by Phil Hellmuth and Joe Navarro. Read 'em and Reap, I believe is the name of the book. Anyway, it was about poker tells. And there was another guy who wrote poker tell books. A poker tell book. Cannot remember who it was. Doesn't matter. It was in the 80s. It was somewhat helpful. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't based on science. And Joe Navarro is like a body language scientist. This guy was a 30-year spook or FBI, or he worked for a 3-letter agency, and he was basically a human lie detector for his entire career. He writes books, Joe Navarro,